Welcome, my friend, to the next episode of the Director's Treatment Masterclass, in which I'm going to teach you the most important skill that you can master as a filmmaker, and that is selling your creative vision and ideas to clients using director treatments. Now, the next episode is all about designing treatments. The last one I discussed writing treatments, and I showed you how to write a treatment from scratch using template text and utilizing tools like ChatGPT. And in this one, I'm going to dive into the fundamentals of designing a treatment. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you how to design a treatment from scratch. So without further ado, let's dive into my computer and into this next episode. So this video is all about how to design a treatment and the fundamentals. So before I dive in, let me quickly recap once more. Where do we stand? What have we learned so far? So the first one, I want to highlight once more that although I have 10 plus years of filmmaking experience and a long list of project successes, I have no Oscars or Emmys on the shelf, so you don't have to agree with everything that I'm sharing. However, if you can learn one thing, just one thing from this masterclass that helps you gain a new client, your investment in time and effort will be worthwhile. Because if you can land one new client with something that you hopefully learn from this course, and make a beautiful project for that client, and then another client will be attracted to you because they like what you've done for the previous client, and then you'll have this ripple effect. The snowball gets rolling and off you go. So one learning, I don't have any Oscars on the shelf, Emmys or Oscars on the shelf, so I hope there will be something in this course that you can take away that will propel you towards new levels in your filmmaking career. Now, to succeed as a work-for-hire filmmaker and to succeed in creating winning treatments, you must approach pitching with a business mindset. This means focusing on getting money into the business by solving other people's problems. So we don't approach pitching with an artist mindset. We are not just artists, and yes, filmmaking and bringing ideas to life with a camera is an art form in itself, but if you want to succeed as a work for hire and have other people pay you for your filmmaking services, you have to approach it in a way that they benefit from what you have to offer, and that is usually by solving their problem. So a brand just doesn't want a commercial because they love to spike up their YouTube views. No, they want to sell more stuff, and the tool to do that is a commercial. And the creative agency is probably looking for a film director because they cannot bring the idea that they have come up with themselves. So they are looking for a problem solver to solve their problem. Business mindset. Now, this is where treatments come into play, because pitching via treatments is all about presenting solutions to solve a client's problem and getting them the outcome that they are looking for in exchange for the budget. So if you pitch a solution that solves their problem, they will perceive your idea as valuable and happily buy what you have to offer. So the only goal of a treatment is to give a visual understanding of the solution that you can provide for someone. Just like an architect pitches a client or designs a client a beautiful house, or an interior design, comes up with a color palette and a palette of materials and presents it to them to show them how they can help other people solve their problem, and help them visualize what the final result could look like according to them. And this is what a treatment is. So it's a presentation of a solution. Just like a doctor diagnoses a problem before prescribing a solution, you must understand the client's problem before offering a solution. You do that by asking lots of open-ended questions to identify the problem. Once you understand the problem, finding a solution becomes easy, because otherwise it is just a lot of misconceptions or assumptions, and you'll be guessing what the client actually wants. So what they usually say is they want a commercial, but actually they want to sell more stuff, or an artist wants a music video, but actually they want to reach a larger audience. You first have to diagnose what the real underlying problem is. Just like you ask your friends, hey, what's wrong with you? Is there anything I can help you with? Before you just say, well, you need to do this and that. Well, that might not be the solution that they are looking for. So just like a good friend, just like a good doctor, how can I help you is the way forward in pitching solutions to problems. Now, when it comes to pitching and presenting solutions, there is one essential thing that people are looking for, and that is confidence. So people will hire you if they believe you can deliver the results they are looking for without the risk of losing their money or jobs. To instill confidence in your pitch, your treatment should include 3 key elements: trust, belief, and proof. Because if people feel confident that you will get them the outcome they are looking for, they are willing to invest in whatever it is that you have to offer. With the idea that they won't lose their money or their job and get the outcome that they are looking for. Now, to instill trust, belief, and proof, clients must trust you as an expert, capable expert who can solve their specific problems. They need to believe your solution will get them the outcome that they are looking for, backed up by proof that you have solved similar problems before. Now, to instill or to present yourself as a capable expert, this all starts by asking lots of open-ended questions during a client conversation, because if you ask the right questions, they will sense that you have experience with solving their specific problem. And also when you can back up when you have lots of testimonials or reviews or client successes that you can convey within your treatment or during a client conversation as well, that also helps to establish you as a trustworthy expert, just like a personal trainer when they have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials and clients reviews and that mention that this person has helped them achieve the outcome that they are looking for, then you will feel much more comfortable and feel confident in proceeding with that personal trainer or that weight loss expert as your go-to expert. And then finally, they need to believe that the solution that you will present them with will get them the outcome they are looking for. So if the personal trainer presents you with a bodybuilding schedule while you were just looking for something that you could be simply implementing in your daily life, then you probably won't believe that this will be the solution that will help you get the outcome that you were looking for. Now, how are we going to instill this trust, belief, and proof within your treatment? By asking 6 key questions. So your pitch should clearly answer 6 important questions to establish trust, belief, and proof. Who are you? What problem do you solve? How will you solve the problem? Where will you solve their problem? When will their problem be solved? And why should they choose you to solve their problem as fast as possible? Right. Next one. Then when you understand what the problem is, so they are looking for, they want to sell more products, or they want to reach a larger target audience, or they want to help build the brand of whatever music artist you are pitching to, then the first thing people usually encounter is a writer's block. So where do we actually start writing? You have to realize that you have to beat your writer's block, because this is what it's called, a writer's block, as fast as possible, and realize that writing is all about rewriting. So the goal of writing a treatment is to start as fast as possible instead of waiting for the perfect idea to arrive. Using template text and writing software like ChatGPT, you can beat your writer's block at lightning speed. As I showed you in the previous video, utilize the tools. We live in a beautiful day and age in which all these amazing AI tools are now available to anyone in free versions as well. So you have to utilize them. Don't just blindly use whatever they spit out, but play with it, reframe it, and use it because speed is perfection. Speed, and especially speed with treatments, because the treatments requests always arrive at an inconvenient time. So usually first in wins the job. So that's how you beat your writer's block. Then writing itself. So promise only what you can deliver in exchange for the budget. Use lots of visually descriptive language to describe your vision and ideas while framing how all your creative choices help to achieve the client's desired outcome. Avoid jargon and overusing references. You are the expert, not them. So you don't want to show off with all your fancy vocabulary and all the cool movies that you have seen and watched over the years, and the books and artists that you would like to refer to, because they might not know who those people are. And they will feel left out. That's what you want to avoid. You want to be on the same level. And you want to promise stuff that you can actually bring to life. This comes with experience. So in the beginning, you might make a few mistakes. You might you might promise some stuff that you cannot bring to life. So then it will be a question of finding a compromise. But it's always better to underpromise and overperform. And use lots of visually descriptive language. So not just say there is a house, but there is a beautifully lit house in a dimly lit environment at the edge of the forest, overlooking the field where the horses run at dawn every morning. So a lot of visually descriptive words to describe a sort of image in someone's mind of what you actually envision. So yeah, that was it. First, the quick recap, and this is what I'm going to cover in this video. So first, I'm going to talk about the importance of design. So why it is actually important to design something and not just submit a blank white document with some written words on it. Then some software. Then I'm going to talk about the imagery. Where do we pull the imagery from? What are the sort of requirements for the use of imagery? Then typography. So where do we find the styling of the fonts that we use? How to design, and especially how not to design. And a quick summary at the end. So, as always, if you want to get access to all the secret stuff that I don't share anywhere else, make sure to sign up to my newsletter, robinpire.com/newsletter, because here is where I share all the secret stuff. Now, you can follow me on the socials as well. Everywhere the handle is @robinpire for exclusive content. And I need your help. Please help me share this course, because I would love to end the not knowing battle of how to create treatments and pitch ideas, so that everybody in the filmmaking industry can have a flourishing business. So please share this course. I need your help. Let's change people's lives together. And a quick warning, this is the most important video in the entire course at this stage. So if you haven't watched the previous videos, I highly recommend you dive in those first before diving into this one. Because although I have given you a quick recap, I highly recommend that you go through all the chapters before diving into this one, because I share so much information in the other ones as well. And I think it's better to sort of fully grasp what I have taught so far and then dive deeper into this one, because then all the stuff that I say in this video makes more sense. So more supportive video, watch it from beginning to end without skipping any parts. And a pro tip, English is not my native language. I have to think about the words I speak. So if you want to save yourself some time, watch it on double speed. It will be a much better experience. Okay, so then importance of design. Let's talk about the importance of design. So how you present your writing matters as much as what you write. A well-designed document shows you care about looks and suggests high quality in your final work. Let's say you hire an architect to design your dream house. If the person just sends you an email saying sort of, well, this is how it's going to look like, this is how the bathroom will look like, in the bed and the bedroom and the kitchen, etc., then you'll be like, yeah, okay, but more input, please. And I think if they actually present you with a beautifully designed document with all the different material options and a visual understanding of what they actually envision, then you'll be so much more enthusiastic about whatever it is that they present to you. And it works the same for filmmaking. So yeah, a good design document helps you so much. So it is really important to present your ideas in a beautiful way in a high quality document. And why it's also important, because what makes sense to you might not make sense to others. So you need to show clients what you see in your mind. So just putting words on paper isn't enough. Great design helps clients better understand your creative vision and ideas. So for us filmmakers, we have this natural talent to think, to sort of see what the visual choices or the direction that we want to take has in our mind. So we sort of are able to visualize the ideas that we have in our mind. But business people, or the people that we usually pitch to, they not necessarily have the same talent as we do. So we need to present them a beautiful document in order to convey our vision for what the final result could be. And it also comes down to clarity. So clearly explaining your vision and ideas with visuals gets the client excited because they can now see it. A well-designed pitch makes the project real and easy to understand. The clearer you paint the picture, the more likely the client will agree to proceed. just like the architect, if you can have all these ideas in a Pinterest board and all this input for the architects about how your dream house could look like. But if you sort of give them all your input and then they filter it down and present you a beautifully designed document and give you an idea of how the final results could look like, then it suddenly comes to life and you'll be like, oh my God, this is it. This is my dream house. And it works the same for clients for filmmaking. So what we don't want to do is we want to send them a document like this. What we want to do instead, we want to create a beautifully designed treatment to give a very visually interesting document to present your ideas and your vision for the final product. Now, let's talk about some software. So design software. There are many software options for designing your treatment, including Keynote, Canva, Google Slides, Photoshop, PowerPoint, InDesign, and many, many others. Use whatever software you know best or want to learn. The only requirement is that it should be cloud-based. Because if you work in the cloud or you save your project files on the cloud, like iCloud or Adobe Cloud or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But if your computer has a meltdown or something happens with the electricity, or I don't know what could happen, or your hard drive crashes and everything was on there, then it's lost forever and you basically have to start from scratch again. So if you work in the cloud and you save it while you progress, or I think with most software you don't even have to save it anymore, and something happens, then you're always good. So and you can work from anywhere in the world. So you can, as long as you have an internet connection, you can basically work on your phone, on your laptop, on your desktop. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, use whatever you like. I'm a big fan of using Keynote. It's a free software. It is only available for Mac users, Apple users, unfortunately. But I've also heard a lot of people who use PowerPoint. Some use InDesign. The advantage of InDesign is that you can use moving graphics like GIF files. I don't know how to say this in English, but like moving images. So use whatever you like. I'd say go with Keynote. If you're a Mac user, if you're not a Mac user, try Photoshop, try PowerPoint. Try them all, and over time you will sort of find your preferred software. But I'd say keep it as simple as possible, because usually speed is power, speed is perfection. The faster you can work, the better. Design software. Then finding fonts. So Google Fonts, DaFont, Adobe Fonts, 1001 free fonts, FontSpace, My Fonts. Let me quickly show how that works. So this is Google Fonts. This is what I use most of the time. It's free, so you can basically type something here to make this is a director's treatment. You get a glimpse of what it looks like. You can basically click one of these fonts, get font, and then it will download, and it's super easy. See, download, and then you will install the font family. This is the one that I use. It's free. You can use it commercially, and for personal projects, I highly recommend using Google Fonts. This is also a great resource. DaFont. Also lots and lots and lots of different fonts that you can use. Also lots of different styles. So I highly recommend just browsing through it and see if you can find something that matches with your project. Then if you have an Adobe subscription, you can find fonts here in the Adobe font section. Also lots of great options, clean, brush templates, so many options. So if you have an Adobe subscription, try to find something in here. 1001 free fonts, also great resource. And they also offer commercial licenses. This one, FontSpace, what I also like about this one is if you find a nice font on another website, you can simply make a print screen or screen grab, upload the image here, and then it will sort of recognize and then give you a suggestion to what that font actually is. So, or you can paste an image URL and ask it to find something similar in their database. So those are for the fonts. Then image software. Now, there are a lot of visual reference tools you can use to find visuals that represent your IDs, like FrameSet, Flim, and ShotDeck. If you want to use Google search, make sure your search results show the highest quality images. Now, this is FrameSet. It is especially designed for filmmakers. It has, at the time of this recording, almost 500,000 plus stills and moving images from movies, commercials, music videos, motion still. See, if you are working in Adobe InDesign, then you are able to use these kind of files. So here you see that it's a moving images. As you also notice is that the files take some time to load. And this is why I personally always I've stayed away from moving images, because if you are working with a Adobe InDesign file, people have to load the file, and if the internet connection is slow, it is some friction in the sort of read the solution, which you want to avoid, in my opinion. And I think, when something is moving, it immediately draws your attention to it, which in a way, if they all receive static documents, then of course yours will jump out. But at the end of the day, words are the things that sell your solution. So if their attention entirely is focused on the moving images, it takes away some of the, it is a reading experience with friction. And as I'd say, remove as much friction as possible. But, if you like this style, if you like moving images, feel free to experiment with it. It does require Adobe InDesign, so be aware of that. You need a subscription for Adobe InDesign as well. But if you have an Adobe subscription anyways, just give it a try. This is a FrameSet. Another great tool is Flim. Also, lots and lots of visuals. What I like about these specific tools as well is that you can search for lots of filters, color. You can find so much stuff in these platforms. And by the way, I have teamed up with all the biggest online search platforms. So FrameSet, Flim, and ShotDeck. So if you want to get a nice subscription with a nice discount, you can use the links and the discount codes in the description below. And you can snatch a nice discount of your subscription. So those are the visual research. Oh, by the way, if you use, for example, Google, I highly recommend, if you are searching, then you use the tools and you have this size option. And if you choose the option large, then at least you have the highest quality images. At Google will serve you the highest quality images. Of course, it is not always the best quality that you will find in here. So I highly recommend using more specified search platforms like Flim, FrameSet, and ShotDeck. But if you cannot find it on those platforms, then Google, of course, is always a great way to find whatever you're looking for. And then, if you really struggle with designing treatments, you can always outsource it. This is sort of a taboo within the film industry, but you can use a template or external designer from Fiverr or Upwork if you're not a great designer. If you Google, you will also find several treatment design companies or treatment research companies that can do the heavy lifting for you, but it will cost you a premium, and the premium can be thousands and thousands of dollars depending on the size of the project, how fast it needs to be delivered, and how many pages did they have to design, have to do the visual research for, and have to write. It is a big job. And, I would suggest that it only makes sense to do that if there is a high probability of getting the job, because otherwise you'll be investing thousands of dollars. And, if you lose the pitch, then you have lost thousands of dollars. If you want to get a more simple, straightforward way and get some help with the design, I have designed director's treatment templates, film pitch templates, and music video templates, which you can purchase via the link in the description below. And it will be, you can do it yourself. And I've done most of the heavy lifting for you. You simply have to change the fonts, change the, or not even, you simply have to change the text to your own and drag and drop your own images into the file, and off you go. Then imagery. So a picture says more than 1,000 words. Instead of writing boring, overly descriptive, text-heavy pitch documents, it's better to use lots of stunning images and visual examples to support your ideas. This can be anything from films to paintings, books, or photographs. So when it comes to communicating ideas, I don't believe there is just one source of visual inspiration or where you can pull visual inspiration from. It can be anything from paintings, books, photographs, or films. And you can use the 3 websites that I just shared with you as great resources. But you have to make sure that the images that you are using are high quality, because ultimately everything in your pitch document will impact how the client sees your offer. The better it looks, the more it adds to your credibility as an expert problem solver. So it is best to avoid low quality and watermarked imagery as much as possible. If you use Google search, make sure your search results show the highest quality images. So just like I showed you, use the filter at the top to choose for the large file size. And yeah, stay away from low quality stuff, but because it just doesn't look that nice. You have to make sure that the images that you choose match the feel of your project. So the images you pick should fit the mood of your project. Keep the lighting, colors, and spacing between the images the same. This makes everything look great together, good together, great together. It's very important. And it should also be a content match. So you should pick images that literally or metaphorically match the text you've written. There needs to be a clear connection between what you see and what you read. Now let me show you a few examples of what I mean with this text. So high quality images. So as you can see, this one is very blurry, pixelery. So that's not what we want to use. Instead, we want to use something of high definition. Now this is watermarked stuff. So something with a that's behind the paywall. So this is what you also want to avoid as much as possible. You want to use unwatermarked stuff, and it should be a feel match. So if you are writing about a horror house at the edge of the forest at just before sunrise or just in the light of full moon, then this doesn't really reflect that what you are reading. So you preferably want to use something like this, for example, that better reflects the feeling that you are trying to convey within your treatment. And also should be a content match. So if you are writing about the sunrise or a city at dawn, then, you know, although you might like this cabin in the woods and the dusty, misty or the foggy environment, doesn't align with the content, so you want to use an image like this, for example, in this case, that aligns with the words that you've written on paper. Then, copyright. So you might be concerned about, yeah, can I actually use these images? So now 99.99% of the time, the documents you design are only used for internal purposes, so you don't have to worry about copyright. This means you can freely use any copyrighted photos, screenshots, and reference videos to explain your ideas. So don't worry about it. In the last video, I also explained that what is very good to include is a disclaimer at the end of the treatment, and in the disclaimer it also mentions that the document should not be shared without prior written consent. So that also sort of covers your ass in the sense that it should not be distributed. It is for internal purpose only, as a reference to give an idea of what the final result could look like according to you. Then the sources for the images. So sites like Flim, Frameset, and ShotDeck are great places to find good reference images. I've written a few blog posts about where to find the best images, including both free and paid options. You can find links to these posts in the video description below. I think there are more than 20 sources that I have included, varying from paid services to free platforms. Yeah. So what I've noticed is with paid sources, the search experience is just so much better. But if you have no money, you know, you can use the free resources as well, which I've done many times. So don't worry about it. And something that is a bit of a taboo as well, I think, is the use of stock images. So some believe stock imagery is uninspired, but I disagree. As long as the images help you convey the ideas you have in mind, there is no wrong reference. Websites like Unsplash and Pexels provide beautiful stock images for free. So yeah, unpopular opinion, but I strongly believe in the use of free resources. So if we go to Unsplash and, for example, type in cinematic, I think this is a beautiful reference image, and then, it suggests a lot of other great options as well. So as long as it represents the ideas that you have in mind and helps you translate those ideas in a visually stunning way to a client, then what doesn't matter what the source is, right? If it helps you translate your words into visuals, and then with the goal of getting hired by the client, and it helps you achieve that goal, what doesn't matter? This is Pexels, also a great cinematic. Also a great resource for finding great imagery. And so, these don't really have the same kind of search filters as the other platforms like Flim, Frameset, and ShotDeck, but, it's a great tool for a small budget. So, copyright, sources, stock imagery. If you are using free software tools like Unsplash and Pexels, I have made this list of stock image search terms. So if you are looking for great images to convey your ideas to clients or to create a stunning pitch deck, use this list of words, make a print screen of it, or just go back and forth in between the video to just copy these terms, and try what the Unsplash and Pexel search algorithms come up with. I've usually used a lot of great images from both of those sources based on the search terms that I've just that are laid out within this slide. So go ahead, give them a try, and hopefully you'll find some beautiful reference images for your next treatment. Then typography. So what is the style of the wording that we are using? What are the fonts, and where do we find them? So the most important thing about typography is to protect the readability. So the most important aspect of your treatment design is readability. If people have to put too much effort into reading it, they won't read it. So when choosing fonts, ensure they allow for an easy reading experience. I will show you an example in a minute why this is important and how it affects your reading experience. Then style alignment. So you can say a lot about a film project style with just fonts. When choosing the right font for your pitch, make sure it aligns with the style of your project, because a horror project or a funky colorful commercial or a Porsche commercial or a music video clip all use different fonts, and it sort of helps convey a feeling with a brand. So make sure that there is a style alignment with the fonts you choose in the project that you are pitching for. And then be selective. So usually you only need 2 or 3 fonts, two or three types of fonts, one for the headings. So in this case, it's the word typography, that's a heading. And then one for the main text. So this is all the white text. So the heading is the big one, and which is in my case also a different font compared to the white text. And then if you like, you can use one more for special highlights. So using more fonts can make things look cluttered. Keep it simple. Remember, what really makes your story stand out, your solution stand out, is the content itself, not the fancy fonts that you use or the fancy vocabulary that you use. So in this case, it's a great example. So protect readability. So for somebody, it might be hard to read what this is, while this is much more readable for for a client. And also with this one, you sense that the left one might be more of a Christmassy or a medieval kind of story. It has a more classic feel, whether the other one is more modern. So yeah, different font styles should align with different project styles. Just like this one. So the style is more of a modern sunglass or eyewear brand, and then it makes probably more sense to go with something like this. And this one is a great example of choosing 3 fonts max. So on the left side, I've used 5 different fonts, which might make it look a bit cluttered. Well, if you choose one for the heading and one for the text, and maybe one for a sort of accent, just to break the design rhythm, then 3. I would say use 3 fonts max. 2 is perfect, and 1 is also fine. Now, these are some great fonts that I really like to use from Google Fonts. So if you go to the Google Fonts and then you type in these different fonts, install them on your computer, it's all free. Then you have a great set of fonts to choose from when creating your next treatment. Now, how do we design a treatment? So there are no hard rules. There are no strict guidelines. Or there are guidelines, but there are no strict guidelines on the design, word count, slides, or chapters to include in your treatment. Each director's treatment has its unique structure that you can decide based on the specific project, your style, and deadline. The goal is to customize your treatment to suit the particular job you're pitching for. Just like there is no hard rule on the writing, other than answering the 6 questions, there is no hard rule for design as well. I'd say the only hard rule is to make it visually appealing and make sure that it can be read. So don't use too fancy fonts so that nobody can read what you have actually put on paper. And then a universal format. So for a universal format, use the 16:9 aspect ratio with page dimensions of 1920 by 1080, which fits most computer screens. For more cinematic look, use 21:9 aspect ratio with page dimensions of 1920 by 1817. I'll show you in a minute what this looks like, and how you can what the different effect is on a viewer. So this is the 16:9. It is just a normal computer screen. But if you want to go for a more cinematic feel or more like a cinema feel, then you can go by 21:9 and then use the pixel ratios that I just outlined in the previous slides. But if you don't like these at all and you want to go even more fancy, then you can go into 9:16, which is more like a social media format, or you can go 1:1 or 4:3. There is no right or wrong. It all depends on the project. It all depends on what the client wants. What do they want to see? What is your preferred style? How do you like to communicate your ideas? So then next, how to design. So at all times, I want to highlight this once more. Protect readability. You can write the most beautiful story or approach, but if people have to put too much effort into reading it, they won't. That's why you need to protect the readability of your treatments at all times. So this is the most important thing. You want to the solution is sold via words, and if people cannot read the words, there is no solution. They won't see your idea as valuable, and you have lost the pitch. So protect readability at all times. It is the most important thing. Then you want to break up the text. So don't use big blocks of text on your slides. Split it into small paragraphs across multiple slides. This keeps the reader engaged and not overwhelmed. I'll show you in a minute how this looks like. So protect readability, although it might look beautifully to use a sort of bluish kind of font against a bluish background. It is hard to read. So instead what you want to use is contrasting colors to make sure that the solution can be read by the client. Also with your headers, make sure that it does not sort of blend with the background, but play around with the composition of the images to make sure that the text that you've written contrasts with the background. And then you want to break up the text. So instead of just this massive wall of text, if I see this in a treatment, then I might be like, ooh, this is a lot of... It might scare me because in my brain, it might think, ooh, I have to put a lot of effort into reading this page. But if I do something like this, it is just 4 blocks of text, 4 paragraphs, then it sort of creates a cliffhanger for the next page. So break up the text. Yes, it will result in more slides, but it will be a very easy, skimmable experience for the client. Then simplicity. So attention spans are short and people get distracted easily, and therefore prefer to grasp your idea quickly. So if your pitch is using boring, complex, or visually if your pitch is boring, complex, or visually unappealing, it will ask too much of the reader and won't get the outcome you're looking for. So keep it simple. Simple is the best way forward. And skimmable. So the harsh truth is that most people will skim through your document, likely on their phones, to make your pitch stand out. Use large, impactful images. This makes the skimming experience more engaging and increases the chances that they will read your text, read the text you include. And then slide numbers. So the use of slide numbers makes it easy during a reference call. This is not necessary. It is just a nice feature. You don't have to include it always. It is just something nice to, if you go through the treatment with your client or with your crew, and you have included slide numbers, then it's easy to reference. Otherwise, it will be like, the page after the art direction section, or you get the point. Slide numbers make it easy for navigation. And then you want to be consistent, so the design should have consistent lighting and spacing between the images, which should match the tone and style of your film. So if you are doing a dark toned project and then you suddenly include purple slides, it might feel a bit off. So you want to make sure that everything is consistent, a consistent feel, because everything in your treatment will affect how your idea is perceived. So simplicity, if you want to use the most simplest form ever that you can use, have a cover slide with a title and then your name, and then sort of break up every slide in half, image, text on the left and the right side, and then switch those up during your treatment and then end it at the end. This is the most simplest form of creating a treatment and conveying your idea to a client. Now, you want to make sure that it's skimmable. So, easy to navigate. And then you can use things like this, for example. And then consistency, you want to create a sort of feeling that is consistent throughout all the slides, no matter what subject that you are discussing in your document. Then, how not to design a treatment. I've covered this more or less already because it's just the opposite of how to design a treatment. But let's go through each one step by step. So no contrasting elements. So don't put dark text on a dark background. Don't put light text on a light background. Don't use colors that are too close to the background. So just like the light blue on the blue background, you want to avoid those stuff. That kind of stuff as much as possible because it affects the readability. Then you want to avoid too much text, so don't overcrowd pages with too much text or one long piece of text. No broken up paragraphs. Too much text on a page looks scary and people won't read it. And also, when it's too hard to read, people won't read it. Protect the readability of all times. And a project mismatch. So make sure your presentation matches the tone of your project. A drama should feel dramatic and a horror should evoke a feeling of horror. And then finally, in the wrong order, make sure the information is in the right order. What's introduced on page 5 should logically support the content that follows. Now, these are some examples of how you shouldn't do it. So all the good ones are like proper contrast compared to the background, and then the bad ones are the stuff that you want to avoid as much as possible. Now, what you also want to avoid is big walls of text. Although the one that I previously showed was broken up paragraphs, this is just one big wall of text and it evokes the same emotion. Ooh, this is going to take a lot of time and effort to read this entire page. What you want to do instead is break it up, preferably into like 3 sentences max, 4, I'd say 2 to 3. And then you get something like this, which is, it's better to digest it. If somebody looks at this, and I'm sure that they prefer the right version more than the left version. And then hard to read. So as you can see, the text more or less blends with the background. This is already an improvement. Blurring the background is always also a great option. But the safest option is just to go for a full contrast, so black or white against a black background, to make sure that it's that is readable, because readability is the most important thing. Then project mismatch. So if this is a horror movie, of course, it depends entirely of the project. Yes, this is also a possibility, but you preferably want to do something on the right. Again, it is entirely dependent on the project, but the right one makes more sense to me, to me anyway. So also with this one, a horror movie, the other version is probably a better option. All right, that was it. Let's summarize this video. So again, there are no hard rules. There are no strict rules on design or content for your treatment, only guidelines. The goal is to customize your treatment to fit the job and your style, and choose a universal format like 16:9 for regular screens or 21:9 for a cinematic feel. No hard rules. There is no, you don't have to include 20 slides or 30 slides or include 15 chapters or include, as long as you answer the 6 questions to convey, trust, believe, improve, and build confidence in the client's mind, my friend, you can do it in 1 page if you like. Less is more. So great design is all about keeping things simple. This way, people focus on the idea itself rather than the design of your presentation. So if you want to use the simplest form, rewind the video and make a print screen of that layout. We're just cutting the screen in half, image on the left, text on the right, then next slide, image on the right, text on the left. Yes, it will be a predictable formula for the rest of your treatment, but if you are looking for the simplest form, that's the way forward. Imagery. So instead of writing text-heavy treatments, use lots of high-quality images that suit your project's theme to make your ideas stand out and look professional. Make sure the images match the mood and message of your pitch, and avoid low-quality and watermarked images, because images, man, those are the big deal. Images help you convey your ideas and they establish the quality of your document. And if you use high-quality stuff and avoid all the watermarked, low quality, and just don't go there. Use high-quality stuff. Use the frameset, film, shot deck, or whatever source, the Unsplash, Pexels, whatever you like to use. Create a beautiful document. And then everything boils down once again to readability. So solutions are sold via words. So the readability of your text is the most important element of your design. Make sure everything can be read at all times with all your design choices, including aspect ratio, imagery, typography, and layout. So readability is the most important thing. You are selling a solution to a problem, and if people cannot read or have to put too much effort into reading what you have to offer, they won't read it, and you have lost the pitch. The easier you can convey your ideas to the client, the better, and the more visually appealing you can make it to them, the better. Now, let me summarize this video with, well, first is this. I wanted to highlight as well is that creating treatments and creating beautiful documents that win pitches is in theory very simple, but it takes, just like going to the gym, just with riding your bicycle for the first time, it is a journey of practice. So in theory, it looks like the left images, but in practice, it is more something that, goes right and wrong, just like the image on the right side. So it is a process of trial and error, and over time you will sort of refine your approach. You will better understand what you like, how you like to present your ideas. And of course, this also is very dependent on the deadline and the time pressure involved of creating the treatment. But just do it. All right, so the quote I wanted to finish this video with is, don't focus on technology, focus on psychology. Because it is so easy to get caught up in this technical trap or the snake pit of procrastination and thinking that you need the most beautiful thing ever to get started. But that doesn't help you win the pitch. The pitch is all about selling ideas to clients by understanding what they want by asking them questions, just like a doctor. How can I help you? And then framing your ideas in a way that says, I understand what you want. This is the thing that you're looking for, and I can help you do that. So that is the psychology of pitching. You are not forcing your ideas. You are not an artist. Yes, making films is an art form, but you are doing this as a business. If you're doing this as a hobby, neglect everything that I have shared so far. But if you are doing this as a work for hire and you want to build a sustainable career, earning money as a filmmaker, as a film director, directing music videos, directing commercials, directing movies, then this is the way forward. And that's it for this video. How to design a treatment. In the next video, I'll dive deeper. I'll do sort of a tutorial. I'll use the text generated in the previous video with writing a treatment, and we'll create a treatment for a commercial from scratch. If you, like I mentioned before, if you don't feel comfortable with the designing stuff yourself, you can hire somebody else to do it for you, or you can use a template. You don't have to use my templates. If you like to explore what I have to offer, click the link in the description below. There are some other sources out there as well, but don't focus on technology, focus on psychology, sell the solution to the client's problem, and you will win the pitch no matter what. So that's it for now. See you in the next one. Tutorial for designing treatments, and adios.